welcome back everybody to a brand new video, and today we have the entirety of Scarlet and Violet finally revealed. Yeah, the set is coming out later this year in March, and we finally have the entire set fully revealed here. So shout out to PokeBeach for having every card translated. There's a lot of brand new cards, there's a lot of really cool new cards that are coming out within Scarlet and Violet that got revealed. So I am super duper excited to get into it and look at all the brand new cards. So first things first, we got to scroll through all these. Here we go. Going down here. See, as you can see, there's a lot of new cards got revealed. So let's start things off here with the Scarlet EX translations. We got Cacnea here. With the ability Counterattack Needles, if this is your active Pokemon, gets damaged by attack, you put 3 on the attacking Pokemon, and Cacturne has the same ability. I wish we would get a good Cacturne. Cacturne's a really cool Pokemon, but they never give us good Cacturnes, I swear. Probably not a very good card. Next up, we have the Skiddo and Go-Go, just more vanilla cards. We got some pretty cool new ones here, though. We got Arboliva. With the ability Fill Oil, when you play it from your hand to evolve on your Pokemon, during your turn, you may heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. So, you basically evolve it, and you heal one of your Pokemon. If it was all your Pokemon, this would maybe be better. The ability is just kind of niche. I don't know if it will actually be that good. Yes, you can use it to heal like a big tanky Pokemon, but I don't really think this card is that good. Who knows, though? Being able to heal your, one of your Pokemon could be pretty fun. It is a Stage 2, though, so you do have to run the risk of evolving it either through Rare Candy or manually. Could be fun, though. You don't have to discard energy or anything, which is pretty cool, so maybe there is some merit to it. You just play with like a big tanky wall Pokemon. Who knows? Could be kind of cool. Scuba Net rotates, so you can't just reuse it with Net, though, which is a bit of an issue. Next up is Torkoal. Concentrate Fire, 80 damage. Flip the coin for each Fire Energy on this Pokemon, 80 for each head. So basically, we have a new coin flip crazy attacker. Unfortunately, we lose Glimwood Tangle when this card releases. You can pair it with Rapidash and Magma Basin and a brand new fire Pokemon, which we're actually about to look at. So that could be fun as a fun little meme. Next up, we got Armorogue here with the ability Firearm. As often as like during your turn, you move a Fire Energy from one of your Pokemon from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So basically, you get to move fire from the bench to your active. Now, this is as often. You got to always keep that in mind. This is a great ability. Combining it with Magma Basin, combining it with just like Switch in general. You just switch to the bench, bring in a new active fire Pokemon, use this ability, move all that energy to the new active. That ain't bad at all. I can definitely see this card seen play. Fire definitely has been kind of on the downswing for a while, even though we got cards like Magma Basin and Charizard V-Star. Fire has never been able to come into the meta again like it used to be because of Welder rotating and Palkia just being kind of good. Who knows? So this card actually could give Fire a reason to see play, because there's also Rapidash, don't forget. Next up, we have the brand new Gyarados EX. Another Trestle card. Unfortunately, this card is kind of underwhelming. And I know I've seen a lot of people actually on Twitter complain about the game design with these Trestle cards. It's such a big game-changing mechanic in the VGC, and then in the TCG, it's pretty bare bones and vanilla. And I can see why people are upset about that. It does have that Trestle effect where it can't be damaged on the bench, so your opponent can't like G-Max Rapid Flow or Moonlight Shuriken it. It is what it is. It does have 2 attacks. You got Waterfall, 3 for 100. And then you got the big attack, Tyrannical Tail, does 180 for 5 energy, 3 waters and 2 energy. And then if your opponent's active already has damage on it, you do 180 more damage. This card, it sucks that it's bad, because Gyarados is such a cool Pokemon, and we've had good Gyaradoses before, but this is just a pretty vanilla Gyarados. It doesn't really do anything. Yeah, it's a Stage 1 with 300 HP, but other than that, it's a pretty basic card. I mean, with Frostmoth leaving the format, this card is basically unplayable. You could pair it with Palkia and Double Turbo, I guess, but even the ability kind of sucks, because like Galarian Zigzagoon rotates out of the format. Even if Goon was around, maybe this card would maybe be good, but like Goon's rotating, I don't see this card seeing play. It'd be actually probably okay if, honestly, I could see this card actually being okay if Frostmoth and Goon were in the format still, because it's actually a pretty tanky Pokemon, but the problem is it just loses so much support, you can't even Melanie to it. Yeah, it's just a pretty bad card, unfortunately. Next up, we got new Floatzel, Hydro Pump, 50 plus 20 more for each water on it. Nothing special. The other Floatzel's better. We got Bruxish, Search deck for 3 basic energies. Yeah, bad card. We got Wiglet here into Wug Trio. That is a W in my opinion. It's actually got a really cool attack. For 3 energy, does flip 3 coins for each heads, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So, new mill card just dropped. Nothing special. For a mill attack, it's okay. Durant's still better. Durant's still in the format, so who knows? This card, could see play as a mill deck? Probably not, though. It's a cool name, though. Wug Trio. It's one of the most G Pokemon ever printed. Next up, we got Dondozo. This is actually a decent card. It's a basic with 106 HP, which is kind of mental. Like, that's a lot of HP to have. And then, of course, we got the attack. Vent Wrath does 50 damage for each of your Tetsuguri. I probably just butchered that name, in your discard pile. So, you get all 4 in there. You're doing 200 damage for a double turbo, which isn't even bad. Now, it is a pretty bulky basic. Again, 160 HP is hella tanky. It's actually not terrible. If Twin was around, this card would maybe be better. You can use it with, Ditto. You can, just, it's a tanky Pokemon, right? That's kind of what I'm getting at here. It's nothing crazy. If it maybe did like 60 times, it would probably be a little bit better. Its damage is a little weak, but it is cool. It is a basic, so it's like, who knows? Could be fun to play. And then, of course, you got the Pokemon you need to put in your discard pile in order to activate this attack. Next up, we got Wattrel into the Stage 1 Pokemon Kilo Wattrel here, which is pretty cool. And it's got the attack skill die, 50 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, Thunder Blast. Yeah, okay, nothing special. I thought it was a little bit more interesting. It's probably not. This is my first time reacting to these cards, by the way. I've seen a few of them, but this is my first time reacting to every single card that got revealed, because it took a while for the translations to be up. Next up, we got a new Ralts and Cardi line. 7 HP Ralts is always nice to have. And then we got Kirlia here. Probably not going to see play. It's actually got an okay attack. It does damage. The problem is there's just 2 other better Kirlias in the format. We got Water Duplicates, and we got the Trade one, so won't see play. We've already looked at Gardevoir before. We got Drifblim here. For 3 Psychic, put 8 damage on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. Kind of a cool card, honestly. I don't hate it. Sableye is one of the best cards in the format right now for a reason. Now, Drifblim is not Sableye. It's nowhere near Sableye's level, but it is a cool attack nonetheless, so we'll have to see if it ends up being good, because you can pair it with Gardevoir EX, so keep that in mind. Next up, we got Dedenne. Nothing special there. We got some new Pokemon. We got Dashbun. I think I said that right. I haven't played Scarlet Violet, for the record, so, like, I'm not familiar with these names. But it does have the ability Well-Baked Body. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's fire Pokemon. And this Pokemon can't be burned. Wait, so it just has 2 effects and 1 ability? Is that am I reading that right? Prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attack from your opponent's fire Pokemon. Can't be burned. Huh, okay. That's the first time I think I've seen a double effect in an ability. What the heck? I mean, fire Pokemon aren't super popular, but hey, if they end up being popular, this card is kind of silly in those matchups. Next up, we got Paratha, and it has the attack Psychic, doing 30 plus 50 more damage for each energy, 30 plus 50 more damage for each energy on your opponent's active. Nothing crazy. It does have an attack that does trap your opponent with Insight, so that's kind of cool. We've seen control strategies use these attacks before, though. There may already be a basic in the format that probably does this effect, but, it's cool to have. Then we got Medicham Bullseye Aim. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks, and during your opponent's next turn, they can't do it, so basically just disable and then kick shot 90 for 1. So pretty vanilla Medicham. And we got a new Lucario, which is okay. It's got the attack Vengeful Knuckles for a single fighting, does 30. And if any of your fighting Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack from an opponent's Pokemon during the last turn, you do 120 more damage. So something it knocks out 1 fighting Pokemon. This thing does 150 for 1 energy. It's okay. 150 is like okay numbers at 2 shots Pokemon, but outside of that, it's a pretty bare bones card. I would honestly say the other Lucario is probably just better, the Ruin Resolve one. Next up, we got a new Crocodile. I really want them to make a good Crocodile card. It is one of my favorite looking Pokemon, and we literally, I don't think I've ever had a Crocodile card ever be good. We've had a couple Sandiles be good, but not Crocodile. What does this do? It's got Bite. 50 damage. Flip a coin until you get tails. Reach out, discard energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. That's kind of cool. I mean, that's not terrible. It's like similar to Seeking in a way, kind of-ish, not really. Then we got Earthquake for 2 fighting, 180, 30 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. I guess the only benefit this card will have, honestly, would probably just be Gym Leader Challenge, to be honest, because There's actually an Earthquake deck in Gym Leader Challenge, which Mahone did play against me in our little collab video we did. So this card might be good in GLC more or less than it would actually be good in Standard. But one day we'll get a playable Crocodile. Maybe we'll get an EX. Then we got the new Hulucha. I've already looked at it. It's actually not bad. It's similar to Giratina Distortion Door. Then we got Sandaconda for 4 energy. Does discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Then your opponent shuffles their active in all cards attached to it into their deck. Kind of a cool attack. I think that the Golduck is better. It does require a lot of energy. 4 energy is a lot of energy, but the effect is actually not bad. Being able to do that is pretty powerful, but I don't know if you're really going to need that with the attack cost being so costly. If it was easier to build up, maybe it'd be good. It's probably not very good, though. Next up, we've already looked at Great Tusk. We've already looked at Koraidon, one of the best cards in the set. And, of course, we got a brand new Muck. What does this do? Special condition, poison does not remove when your opponent evolves or de-evolves. Honestly, I don't hate it. It's not terrible if you're playing like a poison deck. Outside of that, it's pretty mediocre. Then we got Viper, Venoshock 60, and then if your opponent's active is poisoned, it does 120 more damage. They do 180 if they're poisoned. Meh. And then we got Toxicroak EX. We have not seen a Toxicroak EX for a while. I almost said Krogunk EX because it says Krogunk EX on the website. That's why I was like, I paused for a second if you're wondering. But yeah, Toxicroak EX. It's been a while since we've seen a good Toxicroak Stage 2. Or, sorry, a 2-prizer. Last one was literally Toxicroak EX from Flashfire. And that card was like, meh. This card, I unfortunately am here to report it's meh. Toxicroak is a really cool Pokemon. It's a really strong Pokemon from Gen 4, but it's not getting the love in the TCG at the moment. Toxic Ripper, 120 damage. Your opponent's active is now poison. You put 6 on it, so effectively it does 180. You can combine that with, like, Sneasler for, I guess, 200. It's not a terrible attack, but it doesn't do enough, in my opinion. I want a good Toxicroak EX, though. But, I mean, I'll still do a video on it because I'm a rogue guy, right? It's a rogue card, but won't see competitive play, most likely, unless we get some crazy poison card, which I don't think there's one in this set. Next up, we got the King Ambit here, which is the Stage 2 version of Bisharp. This actually has a decent ability. As long as Pokemon is in play, the attacks of your basic Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active. And I'm pretty sure this stacks. It doesn't say there's any other text on it where you can't apply it more than once a turn, like something like Embor. So that's actually a pretty good ability. I mean, you could have like 2 of these in play, and if you have a really good basic Pokemon, I think it's doing 60 more damage. This could actually be good with something like Ditto, or even V Pokemon could play it, which is kind of insane. So I definitely think this card has potential. It is a Stage 2, but it is a stackable Stage 2, which is the big thing to kind of note. And it's honestly not even that bad. I mean, it does 160, does an okay amount of damage. If you ever build it out with a double turbo nut thing, it's got 170 HP. It's a bit harder to one-shot. It's honestly not bad. I actually like this card. Will it see playing competitive? Probably not, but as a fun rogue card, I'm all for it. But who knows? Maybe somebody will make it work. Maybe it'll be good with I was about to say Vigavolt rotates. No, forget that. Next up, we got Revroom here. Another pretty good card. Now, this card is basically like Bibarel and Greninja put together. It's got the ability Rumbling Engine. You must discard energy from your hand in order to do the ability. Then once you're in turn, you may draw cards until you have 6 in your hand. So let's say you have 4 cards in hand and you have a basic energy. You discard the energy, you draw 3 cards. I don't hate it. Is it better than Bibarel? I actually don't know. The problem with the ability is you have to discard an energy, and, you know, with Training Core rotating, it's not great. It's a Stage 1, and it does have 140 HP, so it is pretty, you know, it's a bit more bulkier than Bibarel. Bibarel is sometimes Sableye food, but there's a few downsides. You have to be discarding energy to make this work, and I don't hate it. I mean, it's not that hard to put your hand to, like, 2 cards with, like, Ultra Ball, and then you discard the energy, and then you're drawing, like, 5 cards out of nowhere. I feel like at that point, you might as well just play Radiant Greninja, though. It's a Stage 1. Like, if you're going to play this in something like Lost Box, you can't, because you might as well play Greninja at that point. Greninja is just a better card for Lost Box over this card because it's Stage 1, and Lost Box would rather have a big hand anyways. So, I'm not sold on it. Bibarel is better against Judge and Roxanne, and this card is not as good against Judge and Roxanne. It's probably not great. It might be good in, like, energy discarding decks, but again, I feel like Radiant Greninja is just a better card. So, I don't know. We'll have to see where this card goes. I think eventually it might be good, but for now, I think it's just kind of like, it gets caught in the crossfire between Bibarel and Greninja just being literally better. Next up is Zangoose, nothing special. Got a new Staraptor. Haven't had a good Staraptor card in a while. Spin away 6 damage. During your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done this from basic Pokemon. Look at that. We got a brand new basic wall. It's not as good as Ice Cube. Better than Obstagoon, maybe? I don't know. I mean, Obstagoon rotates, so this kind of replaces it. It's nothing special, but the attack is kind of cool. And then we got Lechonk, the best card in the set. And, of course, we got Oinkologne X. So, yeah, this attack does 10 plus more damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so Mind Jack is back. It is a stage 1. 10 plus 30 is extremely low, especially since you have to use it with double turbo. Not very good. And then Heavy Stamp. 210, flip a coin, heads, this Pokemon can't attack. Pretty bad card. If it was a basic, the first attack would maybe be better. Oh, it only needs 1 energy. Oh, I wasn't even... Okay, never mind. They got the translation wrong. It actually only needs 1 energy. That's my bad. I don't think it's very good. Too weak. It's bulky for stage 1, but if it was a basic, maybe it'd be a bit better, because maybe you can get like a donk out of nowhere, but I mean, it's basically just a worse mill tank if you think about it. Of course, you got some of the reprints, Palpat, Nest Ball, Rock Chest Plate, EXP shares getting reprinted, so that's pretty exciting. Not the worst card to have in the format. We got Jax or Stir. Deck for up to 2 evolutions, put them into your hand. I think a Rizu can get more evolutions. We got Team Stargrunt. Put an energy, attach your opponent's active Pokemon on top of their deck. So it's not as good as Yell's Team Yell Grunt, but it's also not as good as Team Flare Grunt. It's in the middle, which is kind of funny. It's a control card, so control decks will be able to play it, so keep that in mind. You've got the Research reprint, Penny. Return one of your base Pokemon and play an all card attachment in your hand. Yeah, not bad for those type of healing decks. Like, if you're playing a big bulky basic, you can heal it. So, it could be cool with Blissey. Even though they do have Charon's Care, just another way to kind of heal it. We got Beach Court, obviously a really good card. Retreat cost of each player's base Pokemon is 1 colorless less. Basically just Sky Arrow Bridge. Then we got the Violet translations. We got a new Pineco. We got Heracross here. Strength Flow, 10 damage. Does 30 more damage for each energy on your opponent's active retreat cost. Galarmine rotates. Probably not very good. We got Scatterbug. This Pokemon can be evolved in the first turn and the turn it comes into play. Keep that in mind because we got Spewa. And, of course, we got Vivillon here with the attack Miracle Powder. 50 damage for 1 energy. You flip a coin of heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by 1 special condition of your choosing. So you can paralyze your opponent, which is cool. You can confuse them. Not bad. The fact you can put into play in 1 turn is kind of cute. So definitely going to look into experimenting this as a rogue deck. It's not a competitive card, but it's cool nonetheless. Just keep in mind, these cards actually will work with Vivillons in like expanded. So keep that in mind. Next up, we got some new basics here going into Spidops EX. This card's actually not too shabby. It's got the ability Trap Territory. Your opponent's active retreat cost is 1 colorless more. The cool thing is this ability does stack, so you can have like 3 of these in play, and then your opponent has a 3 retreat out of nowhere. The funny thing about this card, it comes out when Galarmine rotates, but Leafeon is still legal. Is it as good as Galarmine? Galarmine gave you a better trade-off if you need 2 of these in play to apply a Galarmine. However, this could bring Leafeon back into the format. It's not Galarmine, but it is still decent. And it's even got a decent attack. Wire Hang does 90 plus 30 more damage for each energy in your opponent's active retreat cost, so you just kind of synergizes with itself. It's a stage 1 with 260 HP, so it can help in the Leafeon deck where you can kind of go Leafeon VMAX into this thing and then back into Leafeon. So this could put Leafeon back on the map. We'll have to see. Next up, we got Toedscool, one of the best Pokemon ever made. Unfortunately, Toedscruel is not very good. I wish we got a good Tentacruel Toedscruel card. Ominous Tentacles, 30 damage. You may choose an energy, attach your opponent's active, and move it to one of their bench Pokemon. You can do this as like a cool combo to like put energy on like bad Pokemon like Bibarel or Lumineon if they don't play Water Energy, but it's not a very good attack, and maybe as a control deck it could be fun to play. We'll have to see though. Next up, we got Scoville in here with the attack Hot Bite. Does 20, your opponent's house burn. And then we got Super Hot Yeehaw. That's a great attack name. 90 damage. If this Pokemon has any Fire Energy on it, it does 90 more damage. So you have to somehow get a Fire Energy on it. I guess you can pair it with Cherim, so that's kind of cool. Stage 1 Pokemon does 180 damage. Kind of cool for Cherim, I guess. But I feel like if you're going to play a Pokemon that does 180 damage in Cherim, just play Snorlax. Next up, we got the Arcana. I've already looked at that. It's actually not a bad card. It's probably the best Terrestrial we've seen so far. It's way better than Gyarados. Houndoom, pretty vanilla card. New Slowbro. This is actually a really cool card. It's got a really cool ability. It's actually got a really nice artwork, too. It's got the ability Strange Behavior. As often as you like, during your turn, you may move a damage counter from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So, not as good as like Reuniclus or Gengar, where you can move the damage around as you please, but you are able to basically heal 90 damage a turn. This card does synergize with Cheryl. Keep that in mind. So who knows? Maybe this could be kind of funny with Mewtwo v Union. Just saying. We'll have to see if this card ends up being good. You can pair it with Cheryl. You can pair it with Radiant Serena. Keep that in mind. It's a cool ability, and who knows? It actually could end up being good. You never know. Next up, we got Clawlitzer here. Unfortunately, nothing special. We got Saitan. Sweeping Tackle does 200 damage. This attacks damage reduced by 20 for each damage on this Pokemon. So, yeah, unfortunately, not very good. We got the new Magnezone EX. Looked at that. Pachirisu, we've already looked at that. Ronom, Junk Hunt. Search discard power for an item. Put in your hand. Control card, maybe? And then, yeah, nothing special there. We got New Toxtricity. This card is kind of cool. It's got the same attack as Trevnoir, except you're doing no damage. For a double turbo tear off, choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand without looking, and then look at the cards, and your opponent shovels them into their deck. So it's basically Trevenant and Dusknoir tag team GX's attack, except you do no damage, which is kind of dumb. But you know what? This is a cool card if you're going to play a Zoroark deck. So if you're going to be playing a Zoroark control deck, this could make a Zoroark control a possibility. Just saying. So, cool card. Maybe it'll see play as a control card. I have my hopes. It does work with Roxanne. You can Roxanne your opponent and put them to a 0-card hand, which is kind of neat. Next up, we got Palmo, and then into Palmont with the ability to charge up. Once you're in your turn, you may search your deck for a basic lightning and attach it to this Pokemon, and then it does 230 damage. Discard energy from this Pokemon. It's a stage 2 that does a lot of damage. I mean, yeah, it's a stage 2, which kind of sucks, but you know what? 230 is not terrible numbers. To be honest, it's okay. So, I mean, I don't think it'll be good, obviously, but it could be a fun meme deck with Flappy. The sad thing about a lot of these scans we've looked at, outside of a couple, they're just meme decks. They're not, like, going to be super good decks. Like, half the cards we looked at probably can't keep up with Lugia and Arceus and Palkia and I don't know what other Mew VMAX. Just it can't keep up with the big Ooga Booga, big bulky stage 1 300 monster Pokemon that just eat half these cards for breakfast. Next up, we got, obviously we've looked at Miraidon, one of the best cards in the set. We got Hypno. Pendulum Manipulation. Flip a coin. If heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. Uses the attack. Kind of neat. It's like Clefairy. I mean, it's not good, but again, meme deck. You know? Next up, we got Bayonet EX. This is actually a really fascinating card, and I don't know if it's good right away, but I think it will be good at some point. It's got the attack Eternal Darkness. For 1 Psychic, to stir damage, your opponents can't play any items. So basically, it's Quaking Punch Part 2, except it's on a Stage 1, which a lot of people need to think about. It's on a Stage 1, so it's not like you're going to get the item lock off right away. Especially if you go second, you have to wait a turn. But it does have the attack Poltergeist lock. Or Poltergeist, sorry. Look at your opponent's hand. Does 60 damage for each trainer you find there. So they are bringing back the Poltergeist mechanic. Item lock isn't really out there right now, though, apart from the attack, obviously, and that's about it. So I don't know if it'll be good, but it might be good at some point. Being able to item lock the opponent is good, and we know how good it is right now in the format. But, I mean, with like cards like Net Leaving, will it be good? Who knows? Again, this card could end up just being unfortunate, just mid, and can't. I mean, right away, the way I look at this card, it's not gonna keep up with the Ooga Booga big V-Star scary Stage 1 billion damage turn 2 V-Star Pokemon. So, but when rotation happens, the format slows down a little bit, and maybe something like Rare Candy becomes more popular with more good Stage 2 EXs. Then this card might be good. This card will never be able to keep up with the big Ooga Booga VMAX V-Star Stage 1 Pokemon that just a million damage turn 2. So, yeah. Keep this in mind for the future. Next up, we got Florges here. As long as this Pokemon's in play, your Pokemon have no weakness. Cool ability. It's like Chandelure, I think. It's nothing special. Moonforce 120. Damage done by the defending Pokemon is reduced by 30. So, pretty underwhelming card. Again, another card that I actually don't think I've seen a card yet that I would say is actually going to do anything in the format that we haven't already seen, like Gardevoir. So, very depressing reveal so far, I can't lie. It's exciting to see some of these cards, but looking at them on face value, like, they're not great. However, you know what is great? This new Klefki is kind of bananas. It's got the ability Prank Lock. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each player's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. Now, This, I'm pretty sure, shuts off Radiant Pokemon. It doesn't say rule boxes, so it shuts off Radiance, and it shuts off Comfey. That's kind of bananas. That's a really good ability. This could even be good in the expanded format. But yeah, this ability is kind of nasty. This could be the way the format maybe not slows down, but maybe slower decks can operate because this card makes them easier to operate. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're trying to build up a Stage 2 Pokemon, there's no Snorlax, rotates. But what if you just put a Klefki in the active? Your opponent can't do anything for a couple turns, and in the background, you're able to build up your, Stage 2s. That's kind of the idea. This could make the format slow down a little bit. The problem is, we don't even know if Lost Box is going to be good in rotation. And also, like, who cares when Arceus V-Star goes turn 2, Starbirth, Boss, bye-bye, Klefki. Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, future-proof, yes. In the future, it'll be good. Right now, probably not very good, because how is it going to keep up with half the big, scary Ooga Booga V-Star VMAX Pokemon? It does shut off Genesect, though, which is good to note, too. I kind of forgot about this. It shuts off Genesect and Lumineon. I was kind of just thinking about, like, Comfey and stuff, but yeah, I guess it shuts off those two, which is cool. It's not bad by any means. I definitely think it'll be good. It even could be a control card, too, like a control that could adapt to playing this card, so definitely a pretty dirty card, to be honest with you. This card here is pretty good. It's got the attack Grave Visit, 80 damage plus 10 damage for each psychic energy in your discard pile. So, is it close to something like, the put things in your discard, do a lot of damage decks? It is. And is it as good as something like Vespiquen? No, because it does need 2 psychic. However, it does work with Gardevoir EX, so keep that in mind. This could be okay. 80 base damage is aight. It's not great. It reminds me a lot of the Lycanroc, the single strike Lycanroc. It's very, very similar to that card, so we'll have to see. We got new Primate. We got Annihilape. Annihilape's a pretty good Pokemon in the VGC. Does it translate well in the TCG? Well, it is the comeback card. Like, I saw a couple tweets about how they were talking about comeback mechanics. We saw Defiant Band earlier, but then we got Annihilape here, which is kind of confusing. Enraged Fist. For 1 fighting, does 70 damage for each prize already taken by your opponent, which honestly isn't terrible. The only problem is this is a Stage 2 Pokemon, right? So, you run the risk of having to go Rare Candy. And, 1 for 70 is actually really good. That's a pretty strong attack. Does a lot of damage. Problem is Stage 2. So, we'll have to see. This could be good, though. I don't know how you would play it, but it could be good. Next up is Spiritomb. Choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, switch with their active, and then Destruction Verdict. Flip 2 coins, both your heads to your opponent. So, it's another Jirachi Cleaver card. Cool. Jirachi and Cleaver probably better, but, it's cool. Dark Patch exists. Next up, we got Mabastiff here with the ability Enraged Howling. Once you're in turn, you may switch your opponent's active Pokemon with one of their bench Pokemon. It doesn't look like it's built-in boss. It's basically just like a half an escape rope, essentially, from the wording of it. So if it was boss, it'd be a lot better, obviously. Next up, we got Bombirdier with Junk Transport. Search deck for up to 3 tools, put them in your hand, and then clutch 60. Yeah, pretty bad card. Next up is Fortress. Goes with that Pineco we saw earlier. Continuous Spin. Flip a coin, take a tails. 50 for each head. Cool, I guess. Then we got Shell Rolling. 90 damage. Damage on by the defending Pokemon during opponent's next turn is reduced by 50. The problem is they can just switch and retreat out of it. So, yeah, probably not very good. Next up is Iron Treads. We've already looked at that. We got a new Blissey. Nurse on duty. Once during your turn, you may heal all special conditions from your active Pokemon. Special conditions aren't really that good right now, and, like, the only one that's good is Poison, to be honest. Oh, I guess it's Paralysis, but, like, I feel like Blissey's just bad. Just play Switch. Next up, we got Skewvit. Once you're in turn, you may shuffle your hand and return the cards to the bottom of the deck without looking at them, and then draw a card. So, basically, you put your hand down to 1 card with this. And the cool thing is you can play this with something like Altaria. You can play Altaria from Evolving Skies, and you can put Mustard on top of your deck. Then you play the ability, and you draw the Mustard, and then you play the Mustard, because you'll literally have 1 card in your hand, and they will just be Mustard. So, this could actually make Mustard decks playable, to be honest. Like, even more playable than they kind of already are. Greedent doesn't do anything cool. Got new Indeedee, nothing special there. Got a bunch of mice here. Family Attack, 7 damage for each of your Mousehold in play. The problem is, it's a Stage 1. You have to have 3 of them on your bench would be 210. If you get 4 in play, you're doing 280 damage. So you're going to have to pair this with Zoark, most likely. The other problem is it loses twin energy, so you can't do 280. You're stuck doing 270. Or sorry, 260. Not 270, 260. That's a bit of a problem. You know what? It'll be fun to make work. I don't think it's very good. Again, it's just another, like, fun rogue meme deck. And that's kind of the theme we've seen with half these new cards. At the very most, like, 90% of them. Squad Billy here. Fly. Flip a coin if heads. Flip a coin if tails. This attack fails. If heads, you prevent all effects and damage on this Pokemon. So it's a fun little troll card. Nothing crazy, though. Another just pretty vanilla card. We got Electricity Generator, which is pretty good. Honestly, I feel like the items and trainers are better than half the Pokemon in the set. Oh my god. I've already looked at that. Ultra Ball reprint. Picnic Backs is kind of cool. Heal 30 damage from all Pokemon in play. That's kind of cool. Pair that with Slowbro. You know what's crazy about this card, though? You can actually use it to just almost auto-win Hisuian Zoroark V-Star, which could actually be a good deck. It means a fast, hard-hitting deck, and that could be good in the new format. This card kind of just counters that deck completely, because you literally remove all the damage that they had on their board. This is actually the most hilarious card I've ever seen in my life. It's like Pokemon were like, I don't think Hisuian Zoroark is, a good deck right now, but Pokemon are like, oh, you know what, Hisuian Zoroark might end up being the BDIF one day. Let's just print a card that completely counters it. It's like, what? Yet we get half playable stage 2 Pokemon. We get this broken item card. Rare Candy reprint is awesome. Choose one of your base Pokemon to play if you have a stage 2. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not the new, it's not like the old Rare Candies, but Rare Candy reprint's good. They kind of had to reprint it with the EXs they've been making. Rocky Helmet reprint, And then we got Cade. Using this card will end your turn. Shuffle your hand in your deck and draw 8 cards. Kind of a cool card. It's a very nerfed Kabu, but cool nonetheless. Will it be good? Probably not. You can use it with, like, the Klefki, though, but we'll have to see how popular something like Judge becomes. Got Arvin. Search your deck for an item and a tool. Reveal them and put in your hand. So, obviously, we know that the tools are now no longer going to be called. They're no longer item cards. So, this is searches them out. It's okay. Technically, it's like something like Irida, where Irida can get you a tool card, but Irida can't do that anymore. So, we'll have to see if this card ends up being good. I mean, getting Choice Spell is nice, and you do get an item card, too. So, not a bad card at all. I definitely don't hate it. Next up is Mimosa. Choose up to 5 Pokemon cards from your discard pile, reveal them, put them in, and shuffle them into your deck. And then you draw 3 cards. So, this actually could be a decent card. Being able to put up to 5 Pokemon back is great. Obviously, Pokemon Recovery is poggers. The problem is it's not on a item card like Ordinary Rod is, which I know a lot of people are upset to see. They kind of wish this was like Ordinary Rod. However, its effect is actually not bad, because you do draw 3 cards. And if you already have a draw engine in your deck, like Curly or Gardevoir, you can easily draw into some of those Pokemon you put back. So I definitely do not hate this card. I think it's like, weirdly, like it's maybe like a worse, better Clara. Like, it's in the middle of Clara and Yell's Cheer. It's not a bad card. I think it might not be bad. I actually think this card could be okay. You don't get anything like energy back or anything, but I don't think that it's the worst card on the planet. It's definitely okay. I wish we had like Ornate Rod Stretcher back, but this will do, I guess. Next up, Mezoa City. Now, this card is actually pretty good. Once during each player's turn, that player may flip a coin of heads, they search their deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, and put them in their hand. I mean, right off the bat, this could actually be good in Mew, and this card itself is a pretty good Pokemon search card, because, yeah, it's on a coin flip, which does kind of suck. But it does get a Pokemon. It doesn't say strictly a basic, it looks like. It just gets you any Pokemon, which is kind of bonkers. This could actually be a pretty popular stadium. Yeah, it's on a coin flip, so it's very risky, and if you flip tails, you could, lose a game because you flip tails, but if you flip heads, it could win you the game. This card is kind of cool. Ultra Ball and Nest Ball do exist, but this card actually might be okay. I don't hate it. It's a nice that we actually have, like, a good stadium, too, because, like, that was my worry with rotation, is, like, losing something like Training Court means that, like, Path becomes better, and, like, the only other, like, vanilla stadiums that could replace it were Collapsed and Lost City, and Beach Court's okay, but it's really good to see an actual good stadium that could rival Path in terms of popularity, so it's nice to see that. I don't think there's any new cards in these. We've seen all these reprints: Catcher, Energy Search, Crushing Hammer, Nest Ball. Yeah, I don't think there's any new... maybe some of these cards are new. Nothing crazy, though. Unfortunately, most of these cards are vanilla. Energy Switch reprint. There you go. Energy Switch. Potion. Pokegear. Oh, yeah. I don't think we've seen that yet. Pokegear reprint. Yes. That's a pretty good reprint. Pokegear is a pretty good card. It might actually give Lost Box some potential. I mean, Lost Box can play Bayonet, but now they have a way to get Chorus a little bit easier. I don't know. This card isn't bad. It's nice to see Pokegear come back. It's a cool card to have in the format. I'm glad to see it back. Switch obviously gets reprinted. Looks like Judge gets reprinted, too. That's kind of cool. And then we got Youngster, which is basically, it's literally just Shauna. Shuffle your hand, you deck, draw 5 cards. It's a Shauna reprint. Shauna's already on the format. She doesn't see play at all. We got Draw 3, we got Research, and we got some new cards here. I don't think there's anything crazy. I guess there's 2 cards that haven't been revealed, but I don't think there's anything crazy in this set anyways, because it is kind of like vanilla. Yeah, it's kind of just like a vanilla set. And we got Mimikyu EX. We've already looked at that before. Yeah, I don't think there's anything crazy in these reprint sets, but yeah, unless we can see here real quick. No, yeah, nothing too crazy in the reprints. But yeah, there you go. That is the entire Scarlet and Violet set reveal there. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Shout out to PokeBeach once again. There might have been a couple cards I did miss out on. I actually don't think there was much that I missed out on there. I think, honestly, the best card we maybe saw tonight is probably that Klefki. That Klefki is pretty good. That Klefki is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. That Klefki might have been the best card that we saw. I'm trying to find it here. But the problem with the Scarlet and Violet card so far is, apart from a couple cool EXs, like Bayonet's kind of cool, but I don't think it'll be good right away. I don't think that we are going to see much out of this set, unfortunately. I think Klefki is maybe the most impactful one-prizer in the set. It's got a really cool ability, so a little disappointed with some of these new cards. Maybe they'll be good with rotation. It's just some of them just won't be able to keep up with VMAXs and V-Stars. They're just too fast, and we'll have to see with the rotation. It is nice to see some of these new cards, and there are some cool things like Gardevoir EX, Klefki, some of the reprints like Nestball and Pokegear are really cool. Obviously, that new stadium is really nice. So there's definitely some cool new cards that got revealed. And it'll be exciting to see what happens with Scarlet and Violet going forward. But that'll be for me. If you all enjoyed today's video here on the second channel, leave a like. And if you're new to the second channel, subscribe down below so you never miss an upload here on the second channel. And that'll be it for me. Leave a link down below if you want to go check out the website here and read all the cards yourself and get your own kind of ideas off them too. But that'll be it for me. Bye-bye.